Everything about the situation is starting to feel less about justice and more about controlling the narrative. Erika Kirk isn't standing in front of cameras searching for the truth. At least that's not how many people are seeing it anymore. Because when prosecutors in a first-degree murder case start using words like mischief, people naturally begin asking questions. Mischief is usually the kind of word you hear when someone talks about harmless trouble, kids breaking mailboxes, pets sneaking food, little things that don't belong anywhere near a death penalty case. But according to court discussions, that exact word has now become part of this massive legal battle in Utah, and it's leaving observers stunned. At the center of the controversy is the growing mountain of evidence suddenly handed over to the defense team. Reports claim investigators delivered thousands of files, countless hours of video footage, DNA material, and ballistic evidence all at once, right before major court deadlines. Defense attorneys argue there's simply no realistic way to properly examine everything in such a short amount of time. The numbers alone sound overwhelming. Digital discovery reportedly reached nearly 12 terabytes of material. Lawyers say even a basic review could take months, not days. Yet despite that, pressure for a fast-moving public trial keeps increasing. And that's where critics believe things become suspicious. Why push so hard for speed before every detail is fully reviewed? Why rush a case this serious while questions about evidence still exist? Those are the questions fueling non-stop debate online. Some commentators believe the public spectacle matters just as much as the courtroom itself. The media attention, the dramatic headlines, the non-stop coverage, all of it keeps emotions high while critical details remain buried under the chaos. Meanwhile, prosecutors continue laying out a dramatic version of events. According to their claims, the suspect allegedly arrived on campus in a Dodge Charger, surveyed the area, later returned disguised, and carried out the attack from a rooftop position. Investigators also reportedly recovered key evidence tied to the case. The story creates the kind of shocking narrative that instantly dominates television and social media. But while cameras focus on the dramatic accusations, critics say major unanswered questions surrounding ballistics and forensic evidence still haven't been fully addressed. And now, people are beginning to wonder whether the rush toward a public trial has less to do with transparency and more to do with making sure the narrative is locked in before every piece of evidence gets a deeper second look. Because once the full evidence is finally reviewed, this entire story could start looking very different. The deeper this case goes, the more people are starting to believe there's a serious effort to keep certain details buried. According to reports, the defense team is now overwhelmed after prosecutors suddenly delivered massive amounts of digital evidence at the last possible moment. We're talking thousands of files, hundreds of hours of footage, and enormous amounts of forensic material dumped all at once. Critics say the timing feels intentional, because when a legal team is buried under mountains of data, they don't have enough time to carefully examine every inconsistency, every report, and every possible weakness in the case. And that's exactly why some observers believe the pressure for a fast trial is raising red flags. Now the controversy is getting even bigger. Prosecutors continue claiming the DNA evidence is overwhelmingly strong. But at the same time, reports suggest they were willing to move the trial forward even before certain forensic analysis was completely finalized. Naturally, people are asking the obvious question: if the science is truly airtight, why rush past it? That's where the doubts begin multiplying. There are also growing conversations surrounding the ballistic evidence. Multiple reports have fueled speculation that key forensic details may not perfectly align with the public narrative being pushed so aggressively in the media. And while officials continue insisting they have overwhelming proof, critics argue that the defense still hasn't received full access to every piece of raw federal data connected to the investigation. So people are asking, if the evidence is truly undeniable, why not release everything for full examination? And then came the statement that sent social media into complete meltdown. Deputy Utah County Attorney Ryan McBride reportedly argued for maximum courtroom transparency, saying, "Mischief lurks in the dark. Let's shine a light on these proceedings." That single word, mischief, instantly became controversial. because many people cannot understand why language that sounds so casual would appear in a case this serious, especially when the death penalty is being discussed. Critics believe the focus is shifting away from careful legal review and moving towards something far more theatrical. The cameras, the headlines, the non-stop media attention. Some believe the courtroom itself is slowly turning into a public spectacle before all the evidence has even been fully examined behind closed doors. And according to critics, that's exactly the concern. Because once public opinion is locked in, it becomes much harder for people to step back and question the narrative later, even if new evidence surfaces. Meanwhile, Erika Kirk continues becoming one of the loudest public voices connected to the case. Supporters see her as someone demanding justice, while critics argue the media's spotlight itself has become part of the strategy. And now, with emotions growing stronger online every single day, many people believe the real battle may no longer be happening only inside the courtroom. It's happening in the court of public opinion. Now critics are taking the accusations even further. They believe this case is no longer just about justice or evidence. They believe it's becoming a media-driven spectacle designed to shape public opinion before every fact is fully examined. According to online discussions, some people feel the pressure for non-stop coverage and public attention is creating an environment where emotion matters more than careful investigation. The argument being made is simple. A dramatic public narrative is easier to sell than complicated forensic questions involving ballistics, DNA analysis, and conflicting reports. And because of that, many are starting to question whether the real goal is a fair legal process or a public example meant to satisfy an audience already emotionally invested in the story. Supporters of Erika Kirk continue defending her publicly, while critics argue the media spotlight surrounding the case has only intensified divisions online. The debate has now spread far beyond the courtroom, with social media turning every new update into another viral battle between competing narratives. What's making this situation even more explosive is the growing belief among critics that important details still haven't been fully explained. Questions about forensic timelines, evidence review, and the handling of investigative material continue fueling skepticism across the internet. And now, as more people dig deeper into the case, many are wondering whether the full story being presented publicly is actually the complete picture. Because once a case becomes this political, this emotional, and this public, it becomes harder for people to separate verified facts from carefully crafted narratives. One thing is certain, this controversy is far from over. More information, more reactions, and more questions are still coming. And with public attention growing every day, the pressure surrounding everyone involved is only getting stronger. So now the conversation shifts to the audience. What do you think about everything happening here? Do you believe the public is getting the full truth, or do you think major details are still being hidden behind the headlines? And if you've been following the story from the beginning, has your opinion changed as more information continues surfacing online? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this debate is clearly only getting bigger from here. Now the criticism surrounding this case is reaching another level entirely. What started as a criminal investigation has slowly transformed into something much bigger in the eyes of the public. A non-stop media storm where every headline, every courtroom update, and every public statement instantly becomes political fuel online. Critics are now openly arguing that this entire situation feels less like a careful search for truth and more like a battle to control the narrative before all the evidence is fully reviewed. According to those questioning the case, the pressure for cameras, public attention, and rapid court movement creates the perfect environment for emotion to overpower facts. And that's where people say things become dangerous. Because once the public emotionally commits to a story, it becomes incredibly difficult for anyone to slow down and ask harder questions later. Even if inconsistencies appear, even if new evidence surfaces, even if forensic reports become more complicated than the original headlines suggested. That's exactly why the growing concerns surrounding the ballistic evidence and DNA analysis are creating so much discussion online right now. Critics believe the unanswered forensic questions are being overshadowed by dramatic storytelling. Instead of careful examination, they say the public is being fed a constant stream of emotional narratives designed to keep attention focused on outrage rather than uncertainty. And according to many online observers, that pressure only increases when prosecutors continue demanding urgency, while the defense team is still sorting through massive amounts of digital evidence. People keep coming back to the same question: why rush a case this massive before every piece of evidence has been fully analyzed? Because if the evidence is truly overwhelming, then complete transparency should only strengthen the prosecution's position, not weaken it. That's why the debate surrounding the withheld federal data, the forensic timelines, and the reported ballistic inconsistencies continues getting louder across social media platforms every single day. Meanwhile, Erika Kirk has become one of the central public figures attached to the entire controversy. Supporters view her as someone demanding accountability and justice, while critics believe the media attention surrounding her role has become part of a much larger political and cultural narrative. And the more public attention grows, the more divided audiences become. Some people believe this case is exposing serious flaws inside the justice system itself, especially when massive public pressure begins forming before the defense has fully reviewed critical evidence. Others believe the prosecution already has enough proof, and that delays are simply legal tactics designed to slow things down. But regardless of which side people are on, one thing is becoming impossible to ignore. This case is no longer being discussed quietly inside courtrooms. It has become a full-scale internet war. Every interview becomes viral. Every court filing sparks new theories. Every statement gets dissected online within minutes. And because emotions are already running so high, many fear that public opinion may end up influencing the atmosphere around the trial long before every fact is clearly understood. Critics argue that's exactly why the media spotlight matters so much right now. They believe once a narrative becomes emotionally locked into the public mind, reversing it later becomes nearly impossible, even if future evidence complicates the story. And that's why so many people are paying close attention to what happens next. Because if major forensic details eventually contradict parts of the public narrative, the fallout could be enormous. Not just for the individuals directly involved, but for the credibility of everyone who pushed the story